Now to another story about bad optics and the Clintons. It originates in the latest document dumped from WikiLeaks, and it involves what many would consider a huge conflict of interest between the Obama administration and its designated successor. Chief National Correspondent Ed Henry takes a look.
A top Justice Department official involved with overseeing the investigation of Huma Abedin is a bigger pen pal with John Podesta than first known. A new email raises conflict of interest questions because it shows Peter Kadzik gave Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman a heads up about her email problem in May 2015. Quote, oversight hearing today where the head of our civil division will testify, likely to get questions on State Department emails, Kadzik wrote Podesta. Another filing in the FOIA case went in last night, or will go in this AM, that indicates it will be a while, 2016, before the State Department posts the emails. The tip about Clinton's email production to the public slowing down was sent from Kadzik's Gmail instead of his Justice Department account, which would have been a public record. Now out because of WikiLeaks, which earlier revealed Podesta praising Kadzik, a college buddy, for representing him in Kenneth Starr's probe, writing in 2008, "Fantastic lawyer, kept me out of jail." Also out today, an email with more evidence Clinton's own aides had deep concerns about pay-to-play allegations at the Clinton Foundation when she released personal tax returns in 2015. Spokesman Brian Fallon emailed colleagues that reporters would dig into, quote, overlap between paid speech hosts and campaign and foundation donors that could fuel pay-to-play storylines. Fallon added they could be vulnerable over Bill Clinton's consulting, especially the one with Laureate, a for-profit college that gave the former president nearly $18 million over 5 years to be an honorary chancellor. Another email offers a window into major donors to the foundation who may want to collect favors if Hillary Clinton is elected. Even though the Clinton camp has been slamming former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort for ties to Ukraine that have gotten scrutiny by the FBI, Ukrainian billionaire Viktor Pinchuk gave over $8 million to the Clinton Foundation, and last year was relentlessly demanding to meet with Bill Clinton, one-on-one or with other Western leaders, to show pushback against Russian President Vladimir Putin. A foundation official writing, I get the impression that although I keep saying WJC cares about Ukraine, Pinchuk feels like WJC hasn't taken enough action. I sense this is so important because Pinchuk is under Putin's heel.
Now, Podesta nixed that meeting perhaps because the Clintons were sensitive about negative press involving donors. As for Kadzik, justice officials note he sent Podesta public info, and even Republican Trey Gowdy today is saying that as head of congressional affairs, Kadzik is not a decision maker in the Abedin probe. Right?
Ed, thank you. Let's get more on all of this now from Andrew McCarthy, former Justice Department attorney whose commentary in the National Review makes some very serious allegations. He joins us tonight from New York. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
First, you listened to that, the breaking news at the top of the hour. Your thoughts on all of this as it comes together?
Well, the thing that stuck out to me most, Brett, was it seems to me like the Justice Department may be in connection with this fellow Kadzik setting up an argument that if you email from your personal address, arguably after hours, that's not a government record. If that's going to be their new position on this, that is quite a substantial change in what we thought were the facts of the Clinton emails case. With respect to the other new disclosures, I think it shouldn't be surprising to us that the Clinton Foundation has been the subject of investigation. It's a little surprising that it kind of emerged so suddenly in that Wall Street Journal report earlier this week. But I do think it's you're always potentially making a mistake when you take an investigation that ought to be looked at all as one and disaggregate it. And the FBI has obviously done that in connection with, putting the white collar stuff in one box and the classified information stuff in another box. That's often a way that things that ought to be looked at closely fall through the cracks. So I'm glad to see they're doing it. I wish they were looking at it as one unitary whole.
You charge in this column that the Justice Department appears to be holding back, getting in the way. I talked to Attorney General Loretta Lynch back at the end of February. Here's what she said back then. Who's the ultimate decider at the DOJ?
It depends on how the matter comes together.
But the decider of whether to go forward is you, right?
Well, we'll see what evidence develops and what facts develop, and we'll follow those to their natural conclusion.
Does it concern you, though, that there is this perception that your Justice Department may, in the end, cut Secretary Clinton a break or do her a favor?
No, I think that with every case, we handle it in the same way. Whether someone has an interest in a case because it's interesting in the headlines or because they're personally involved in it.
Bottom line, is there any double standard here?
There's no double standard in this or any other matter being handled by the Department of Justice.
Andrew, because the Attorney General met with former President Bill Clinton on that tarmac in Arizona, you say that took her out of the equation, but didn't stop her, according to your column, from standing or trying to in the way of the Clinton Foundation investigation.
Well, I don't see how that's disputable. I mean, as far as her meeting with former President Clinton is concerned, she herself said it was a mistake and kind of quasi-recused herself from it. And actually deferred to the FBI director on the ultimate decision, which never happens in any other investigation. So, you know, for her to say there's no double standard in this case is being handled the same way, even if we didn't have all these crazy immunity deals where the grand jury doesn't get impaneled and you give immunity in order to get evidence that you can usually compel, which also never happens in any other case. I would say that meeting was highly unusual. But we're also seeing now that these wacky immunity deals that they gave were used, according to the Wall Street Journal report, to deny the agents investigating the Clinton Foundation case access to what was on the laptops of Cheryl Mills and Heather Samuelson. And I simply point out that somehow that case seems to have gotten before prosecutors in the Eastern District of New York, which just happens to be the district office that Loretta Lynch was the U.S. attorney in for 6 years before she was elevated to Attorney General by President Obama. Yeah. It also happens to be the office in which she came to national prominence because she was named U.S. Attorney in 1999 by President Bill Clinton, the same guy she was meeting with in the tarmac.
Right.
So,
the immunity deal, in part, the limited immunity deal, had a structure in it in which those laptops were said to be destroyed. Part of the news at the top was that they have not been, and they're here at the FBI office and are being exploited. We'll see if that deals with the foundation or not. Finally, very quickly, your thoughts on the president weighing in again today on the email situation after, in October of last year, what he said about it not being a national security threat.
Yeah, well, I must say, Brett, I think if I were the president and I had communicated with Mrs. Clinton some 18 times using an alias over a non-secure email system, and then looked the American people in the eye and said that I didn't even know that she had private email or that she used private email, I'd really stop talking about this case.
Andrew McCarthy, thank you, sir.
Thank you.